The honor to be able to complete this final project and take examination. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is ADINDA FEBRIANTI, a College Language and Literature student 2022 in Faculty of Law and Language, University of Stikubang, Semarang. Well, after the introduction, I would like to thank you for the opportunity that has been given to me to present my final project entitled Understanding the Personality and Murder's Motive of Jack the Ripper in From Hell Movie 2001, a Freudian Psychoanalysis Study. This presentation has 5 discussions. First, introduction. 2, biography, the director. 3, finding. 4, analysis. And 5, conclusion. First is introduction. Personality and motivation are two important things in the life for all human beings. Personality shapes the individuality, which determines the actions and behaviors of human beings. In one study, Heady 2018 defines personality as the combination of a person's characteristics that make them unique and of a distinctive character, and it forms the basis for an individual. So he explains that personality is importantly influential toward motivation through the personal stability of humans' emotion. In this sense, personality is the thing which truly shape the emotional stability of human. In addition, human being can find many things about personality in literary work, because as Abrams 1971 states about definition of characters, they are people who present in dramatic or narrative works. Abrams' statements about how character is equal to people is strengthened by Robert 2003, who states that character can be analyzed using psychological approach as if they were patients of psychiatric doctor. Since character can be found only in dramatic and narrative works, it's important to remember the existence of literary work and movie. So, Wellick and Werin, 1977, ever states that literature can be created based on the society. Just like literary works which can present depiction of society, movie or film can become the depiction of society because movie also has narration on it. So I decided to do analysis of character from a movie by psychological approach. I noticed that one of the famous characters in movie and literary works who remains mysterious up to now is Jack the Ripper. In addition, Jack the Ripper was an unidentified active serial killer in the largely improvised area in and around the Whitechapel district of London in 1888. Jack the Ripper is a very famous character which can be found easily on some old stories, novel, and literary works. For example, is The Lodger 1913, is a first novel which presents the murder by Jack the Ripper into a fiction. And the second famous work is The Jack the Ripper, The Final Solution 1976. Considering Jack the Ripper as important figure in many literary works and movies, so I decided to conduct research in one movie which puts focus on Jack the Ripper's murder. The movie which is taken on the study is From Hell 2001. This movie is about Jack the Ripper, which is interestingly placed as an antagonist which looks fine psychically but is very disturbed psychologically. Jack the Ripper in this movie is a British family royal doctor who feels great hatred toward some London prostitutes because one of those prostitutes seduced Prince Albert into marriage and caused the prince suffering greatly of syphilis. Well, there are 2 problem statements to analyze From Hell movie. The first is, what is the personality of Jack the Ripper in From Hell movie according to Freudian psychoanalytic theory? And the second one is, what is the murder's motivation of Jack the Ripper in From Hell movie according to Freudian psychoanalytic theory? Next is research method. The approach is psychoanalysis study by using Freudian psychoanalytic study the tripartite psych model. And the data collection, I using movie for the object, and the primary data are collected from the movie script. The data collection and data analysis of the main character in the From Hell movie was done in the following steps. First, watching the movie carefully, and then taking note especially of the main character to find out the characteristic in the scenes, and last, from the data will be selected and collected. The second point of discussion is biography the director. The Haggis brothers is American film director and producers. They are Albert Haggis and Ellen Haggis. They are twin and were born on 1st of April 1972 in Detroit, Michigan, United States, to an African and American father and American Armenian mother. And for your information, Albert is older than Ellen by 9 minutes. The Haggis brothers become directors and producers in many movies. Among them are Menace to Society in 1993, Dead Presidents in 1995, American Pim in 1999, and then From Hell in 2001. The third discussion is finding. There are 2 findings in this research. First is to investigate and elaborate the personality of Jack the Ripper in From Hell movie according to Freudian psychoanalytic theory. And the second one is to investigate and elaborate the murder's motivation, the personality of Jack the Ripper in From Hell movie according to Freudian psychoanalytic theory. The fourth point of discussion is analysis. For starting the analysis, I should mention that Jack the Ripper case in From Hell movie is solved by an inspector named Frederick Eberlein. Jack the Ripper here has his identity as an old royal physician altogether with a loyal Mason member. His name is Sir William, and he entrusted by the Queen to take care of the health of the royal family. He felt great anger and grudge toward certain street horses who became the witnesses of Prince Edward's secret marriage, which has caused him dying of syphilis. The anger and grudge of Sir William as Jack the Ripper as both royal doctor and loyal Mason can be seen on the dialect. From the dialect, it is clear that Sir William has acknowledged his deed of becoming Jack the Ripper who killed several street horses. And from the dialect, then the identity of Jack the Ripper is known. He is a royal physician and loyal Mason who feels anger toward some horse because he thinks that Prince Edward is dying of syphilis because from his secret marriage with one of the horse. Then as a result of his anger and grudge, Sir Williams becomes a martyr by taking the name Jack the Ripper. First is the Id of Jack the Ripper. Id, as stated by Hull 1954, is called as a pleasure principle. It has functioned to reduce tension and to avoid pain caused by external reality. In a adjusted human being, the id carries out the function through the ego and superego, and in another word, it is the primary need of human being. In the case of Sir William, his primary need is external acknowledgement of his action as both doctor and Mason. Based on the citation, when Frederick called him as Jack the Ripper, he does not regretting anything. And this shows that Sir William, when his grudge and anger, actually feels the needs of acknowledgement as a very strong entity who is able to give birth to the future. The second is the ego of Jack the Ripper. Hull 1954 described ego is the part of personality which deals with the reality, in order to fulfill the id by considering the conscience imposed by superego. So it means that ego's purpose is to fulfill the id. In Sir William's case as Jack the Ripper, his ego applies defense mechanisms by changing his state of mind while distorting the external reality for him. It's proven by the citation in which he admits his identity as Jack the Ripper to Frederick, who successfully solves the murder cases. From how he disdains Frederick as ignorant and degenerate, and how he unrealistically describes himself as the meaning and the energy, all of them show that Sir William's ego fails to employ realistic solution. The realistic solution in fact cannot be achieved because he has failed on Prince Edward's treatment of syphilis as a doctor. So Sir William feels psychological pain and tension because his id, which is about people acknowledgement, cannot be fulfilled by any realistic solution. And his pain occurs because of his failure as a doctor makes his ego employs defense mechanism as a defense toward the basic. In this case, Sir William's ego begins to distort the external reality by what is stated by Hull as secondary narcissism. So Hull 1954 states that secondary narcissism is a distorted self-pride which happens sometimes when the ego fails to employ any realistic solution. This is exactly what Sir William experienced because he is so desperately proud of him, feels as if he is the energy, the meaning, and the one who gives birth to another century. The third is the superego of Jack the Ripper. Hull 1954 states that superego is about moral and conscience rules imposed by parents toward the child. In the case of Sir William, he is a royal doctor and member of Freemason, so the Queen and the Mason organization whom he serves become the source of moral rules for him. How the Queen and the Mason becomes Sir William's authoritative figure can be seen in the dialogue and the figure. The dialogue and the figure, it is obvious that the word loyal Mason is stated by Frederick to address Sir Williams, and he does not deny it at all, that he is a loyal Mason. So this shows that Sir William is very loyal to the Mason organization. Judging from Sir William's authoritative figures, then his superego is his loyalty toward both the Mason and the Queen, as both loyal Mason member and the royal physician. The next slide is murder's motivations of Jack the Ripper. The motive of Jack the Ripper is pretty obvious. This murder is based on anger and grudge towards certain horse because of Sir William's background as both Mason and royal doctor. So in the next slides, I will describe how the ego can be corrupted by it and superego and how the distortion of reality happens as defense mechanism because of the corruption of the ego. First is the corruption of the ego as murder's motivation of Jack the Ripper. Hull 1954 states that in Freudian psychoanalytic model, the realistic ego can be corrupted by it and superego. From the dialogue, it shows that his murder's motive is based on his loyalty toward the Queen as royal physician and toward the Masons. At the dialogue, Sir William himself also mentioned that he identifies himself as the meaning, the energy, and the one who gives birth to 20th century. And he is proud of people acknowledge, which is his id and loyalty toward Queen and Mason, which is his superego. So it's clear that Sir William's ego considers murder as a realistic solution, and his id and superego manipulates his ego to see murder as a realistic solution. And the second one is the distortion of external reality as ego defense mechanism of Jack the Ripper. This corrupted ego of Sir William also creating a very unhealthy ego defense mechanism by distorting his external reality. This corrupted ego which also plays unhealthy defense, making him hallucinate about being a teacher for many doctors and about being a loyal mason who is prideful of his murders. It can see on the two pictures here. The first picture tells Sir William has just finished murdering his last victim as Jack the Ripper. Then suddenly he hallucinates about being in class teaching many doctors in a lesson about human heart anatomy. Then the second picture tells Sir William experiences hallucination as a loyal mason who has no fear of God. So from those two pictures, it is obvious that Sir William experiences distortion of reality due to his ego being corrupted by his id and superego. In his hallucination, Sir William is being admired by the mason who fears no God with well-founded fight for doing the murder. Ironically, in reality, Sir William is secretly punished by the Queen and the mason because he is accused of doing ghastly rituals and jeopardizing mason as secret organization. It can be seen in the following citation. From the citation, the Queen, who is the authoritative figure of Sir William, is clearly disappointed of him being the murderer. And the same thing happens with the mason, which decide to secretly punish Sir William by giving him medical procedure to totally paralyze him before sending him to special prison for people with mental disorder. The distortion of external reality which is experienced by Sir William is mentioned also by Phelan 1994 in his article titled Ego Mechanism Defense and Personality Psychopathology. On his study, Phelan states some several defense mechanisms such as psychotic defense, immature defense, intermediate defense, and mature defense. And the dangerous one is psychotic defense. And he mentions that distortion of external reality is included as psychotic defense, a sign of certain psychological disorder of human being. Next, the fifth point is conclusion. The conclusion is Jack the Ripper or Sir William is a loyal mason and royal physician toward mason organization and the Queen who needs to external acknowledgement that he will give a birth of future that is 20th century. And he unrealistically described himself as the meaning and the energy. All of them show that Sir William's ego fails to employ realistic solution. Noticing that he has failed any realistic solution, Sir Williams feels psychological pain and tension, and his pain occurs because of his failure as a doctor makes his ego employs defense mechanism as a defense toward the physique. The second one is the motivation of Sir Williams being Jack the Ripper is based on his corrupted ego through the work of his id and superego. This corruption caused him to do many murders without regretting anything. And in Sir William's case is the example of the corruption caused by the force of id and superego, and this corrupted ego can cause the dangerous psychotic defense. Well, that's all my presentations, and I say thank you.